पिछले 25 वर्ष के मेरे संगठनात्मक सफ़र से यह उम्मीद की जाती है कि मैंने हिंदी में भाषण करना चाहिए, परंतु मैं बताना चाहता हूँ कि न कि मैं हिंदी थोड़ा थोड़ा समझता हूँ, हिंदी पढ़ता हूँ, हिंदी लिखता हूँ, लेकिन सुगमता से हिंदी बोल नहीं सकता। इसलिए कृपा करके आप मुझे इंग्लिश में भाषण पढ़ने के अनुमति दे। So, Honorable Chief Guest, MN Professor Sona Jharia Minj, Vice Chancellor, SKM University, Dumka, Jharkhand State, who pleased to inaugurate this National Convention of BAMSF, MN EZ Kobragade Saab, a senior IAS officer and an eminent Phule Ambedkarist, MN BD Borkar Saab, the chairman DK Kappade Memorial Trust, our age-old full-time Pracharak, MN SF Gangavane Saab, members of all Central Executive Committee of the BAMSF organization and its offshoot wings, state presidents, state executive committee members and its offshoot wings, dignitaries, delegates, ladies and gentlemen, and above all, the full-timers of our organization, I extend my hearty welcome to all of you to this 37th National Convention of our organization, BAMSF organization. It is really a great pleasure and honor to our community that a personality like MN Professor Sona Jharia Minj and of course our eminent Phule Ambedkarist Kobragade Saab has agreed to inaugurate today's National Convention. Actually, our National Vice President MN Kalim Ansari Saab had already introduced our chief guest and our special guest, but still I want to express a few words about our chief guest MN Minj and Kobragade Saab. So, MN Minj has worked for the rights of underprivileged group of Mulnivasi students before she sworn in as Vice Chancellor. She was also the President of JNU's Teachers Association. This shows our chief guest has a deep concern and great awareness about the necessities and requirements of our movement. So, at this juncture, I request her to join with the persons who are running the movement on the footsteps of Rashtrapita Jyotiba Phule and Baba Saheb Ambedkar. Because BAMSF is such an organization which is running its activities since 42 years by propagating the ideologies of our forefathers to the nook and corner of the country. If the organization is guided with intellectual inputs to counter the age-old enemy of the community, then the organization definitely turns to its logical end towards its objective. Hence, the services of intellectual core of the society like MN Sona Jharia Minj and like our special guest Kobragade Saab are very essentially required to boost up the activities of the Phule Ambedkarite movement. So I request Honorable Ma'am and Honorable Kobragade Saab to think over on these lines and mobilize. So far, we have conducted 36 national conventions. Out of these, 8 national conventions are we conducted in this historical place, Nagpur. Let me share the details of the 8 national conventions in this historical place and of course the central part of India. The BAMSF first national convention was conducted during 1979 between 2nd and 4th of the December. Of course, the birth of the BAMSF organization took place at Boat Club India during the December 6th and 8th of 1978. Then after 10 years space, again the 11th National Convention was conducted in this place from December 25th to 28th of 1994. And after 14 years, the Silver Jubilee Convention, that is 25th National Convention, was conducted here at Nagpur again. There are another 5 national conventions which were held during 2008, 2011, 2013, 2015, 2017, and last year 2019 also we are conducted in Nagpur itself. So this year we are now conducting here again our 37th National Convention due to heavy pandemic corona conditions throughout India. Including this 37th National Convention, this is the 9th time we are again conducting in this Nagpur, particularly in our Rashtrapita Jyotiba Phule Institute for Social Revolution. So, after 42 years of our social movement throughout India, now we are seeing very drastic changes in the society, but at the same time, we should admit that the Brahmanical forces had also acted with the same vigor to counter the activities of the Phule Ambedkarite movement. It is a very common phenomena to our activists that everyone is asking us, what is the output of your organization after the long period of 42 years of work in the society? This is commonly asking question, commonly encountering by our own cadre in the field. So for those people who are asking such type of questions, my answer to that one is, the success and the output of any organization can be seen or can be measured from its declared objective of that particular organization. As far as our BAMSF organization is concerned, you are all well aware that our objective is social change. This objective is not set by BAMSF organization. The objective of the social change was declared by our forefathers during 1848 by Rashtrapita Jyotiba Phule and during 1916 by Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar. So social change is such an objective set by our forefathers, and after 1956, the task is taken after the birth of the BAMSF organization only. During 1956 to 1978, that is 23 years of span of the time, nobody had dare enough to take up that task as their objective. This social change is their objective. That is the greatness of this objective. So, after 23 years of its time, BAMSF only took up this task and working since last 42 years, and it is to take more such years until it takes its logical end. Suppose if we estimate the time period to accomplish our objective, it certainly depends upon the availabilities of all the resources we have. In addition to these resources, that is human and financial resources, we have to develop the intellectual resources to counter the Brahmanical evil forces who are continuously trying to oppose the activities of the Phule Ambedkarite movement. Considering all these factors into accountability, then only we can assess the time period to achieve our objective, which is set by our forefathers. Not only outsiders of the organization, even in the inner circle of our organization are doubting about the fulfillment of our declared objective. It is quite astonishing to me also about these doubting personalities. To overcome or to clear these doubts, not only in the minds of our own people in particular, but also the outsiders of the organization, we have to strengthen the human resources and also, of course, financial resources. You may think that this is an age-old theory, but at the same time, you are also known for running a movement. Both these resources are very essential and compulsory. Running the movement means not in the present situation. It shall be continued until it reaches its logical end. For that purpose, we have to hand over this movement to our future generations. Running a movement means we have to counter the strategies of our age-old enemy at every time. For that purpose, we will have to develop and strengthen the research and development wing, which is already existence in our organization. Similarly, running the movement means we have to create and develop the human resources. For that purpose, a training institute is required, which is already exists in the same premises which we are now standing, you are sitting, that should be developed with giving an utmost importance to it. So, dear friends, for this, we have to chalk out our perspective program. Mind you, I am repeating you the perspective program that shall be followed by the persons who are leading the activities at that particular time at any cost. Why I am saying this point very particularly is, whenever the persons who have the opportunity to lead the organization, they may simply skip to the priorities required at that time. There is no wrong in it. But the point is, whatever the programs designed and whatever the methodologies are planned to implement the generating the resources are held up due to the giving priority to the some issues at that particular time. Definitely, we should take up those issues as an ancillary part of the movement. But we should not leave the perspective program that is generating human and financial resources. This is an appropriate time to quote some of the plans and methodologies which were designed by our previous national presidents, and due to some or other reasons, those plans and methodologies are not implemented or not even pursued after their tenure. I think this is the main obstacle in institutionalizing the organization. In an organizational perspective, we have to overcome these type of obstacles. For example, in the year 1989, that is the 6th National Convention of the BAMSF, the then National President M.N. Tejendra Singh Jalli planned to cover 15 states and 100 districts in the country. Similarly, he planned in the consequent year, that is 1990, for 20 states and total 180 districts of the entire country. But after 30 years of completion of the planning by the then National President M.N. Tejendra Singh Jalli, what is the present scenario of the organization pertaining to the geographical network? We are well known that even today, that is in 2020, we have not covered those 20 states and those 200 districts. Still, this is due to non-concentration of our own perspective program designed by the then CEC at that time. Similarly, let me give you another example. During the 12th National Convention, which was held at Jalandhar, that is during 1995, the then President M.N. S.F. Gangavane Saab appraised for the development of financial resources in his presidential speech. This was my first physical attendance of the National Convention. I am very much pleased and very much convinced with his way of expression at that time. He expressed how the financial resources for running a social movement are important. If any organization could not create financial resources, that organization will defunct and will become handicapped in implementing their perspective program. So Gangavane Sahib pointed out we must pay attention on the development of financial resources, not for maintaining the day-to-day activities of the organization, but to run the movement of the bombs of organization. So we should develop the financial resources at any cost. But still today, we are not in a position to create sufficient financial resources for running the movement, even after 25 years since 1995 onwards. So the plan designed by the Tejendra Singh Jalli during his presidency, that is 1995-1989, is relating to the human resources. And similarly, the methodology suggested in 1995 by the then President S.F. Gangavane pertains to the financial resources. Similarly, in the year 2000, we chalked out a program for 10 years to cover 500 districts and 6 lakhs villages. But that program was not materialized due to so many reasons. I need not elaborate all these things. But the program was not materialized so many reasons. During 2007, that is 24th National Convention, which was held at Delhi, at that time, the National President M.N. B.D. Borkar Saab also emphasized about the financial resources for the organization. Borkar Saab developed a mechanism of accountability in the accounting system, and he tried a lot in institutionalizing the system of accounts throughout India in the organization. And finally, in the last National President's tenure, that is M.N. D.R. Arya Saab's period, that is from 2018 to 2020 August, he introduced a beautiful mechanism to take a donation of 500 rupees per month from each cadre for every month. This mechanism is not yet materialized in its full form, and I hope it will take its momentum in the coming next 2 years. So, after emphasizing all these incidents since last 30 years, that is from 1989 to 2020 this year, it clearly shows our perspective programs are not properly concentrated and are not practically implemented all these years. As a national president of this prestigious BOMS of organization, my top priority is to implement this perspective program in a practical manner. Combining all these plans, combining all these methodologies of our previous national presidents, we shall concentrate very practically on the development of the human and financial resources. By increasing the geographical network, we can increase and develop our human resources. If you succeed in increasing the human resources, then automatically we will succeed in developing the financial resources. This is an interlinking program, interlinking mechanism also. Suppose if we succeed in raising the financial resources, automatically we are in a position to recruit the real field work, full-time workers to the organization. Presently, we are engaging only 16 full-timers. In that 16 full-timers, 7 persons are discharging their duties at Central Office, Delhi, Training Center at Nagpur, and this place, and R&D department, etc., etc. And another 7 persons are busy with the MNT News Network, and remaining 2 persons are engaged by our offshoot wings. So other than these 16 persons, another 6 persons were engaged by the Andhra Pradesh people, and 1 person is engaged by the Rajasthan state. Pertaining to MNT News Network, full-timers, some are engaged by the Maharashtra state unit. The honorarium to these full-timers is nearly 2.3 lakhs per month. So dear friends, after the inception of the RSS in 1925, they have recruited only 47 full-timers after the independence. That means they recruited these full-time pracharaks in the field during these 22 years only 47 full-timers. Now, whatever the full-timers, the BOMS of organization is engaging, they are all working not in the field, but their services are being utilized for the affairs of the organization only. But for development of the human resources, we need full-timers. Further, those who are well trained to work in the field only. At least in the first phase of the recruitment of the full-timers, we require 2 cadres from each state. Presently, we are working somewhat authentically in 15 states. Out of 29 states, we are working only in 15 states authentically. And of course, a little bit roots in another 5 states. So for these 20 states, we want to recruit 40 full-timers in the first phase. Now, we are managing a little bit in running the affairs of the organization with already recruited 16 full-timers. For recruitment of another 40 full-timers, we are in a dire need of financial resources. You are well known, our objective is social change. To teach our main objective, the organization to teach our main objective, the organization set 10 sub-objectives. Out of these 10 sub-objectives, the 7th sub-objective says, generate full-timers, maintain them, and then manage them. So to maintain full-timers and to manage them, we require financial resources. So on the last year, that is during 2019, our outgoing president, Honorable D.R. Arya Saab, found a new methodology, that is every member or every cadre of the organization shall contribute 500 rupees per month to the organization. This methodology is now slowly cropping up in the minds of the organizational activists, and surely it will be materialized in the coming years. For this purpose, our organization has opened a separate bank account so that the cadre who wants to contribute, who wants to deposit 500 rupees per month, may directly deposit into this account. For example, if all the 25 CEC members of this organization and almost all 150 SCC members of the different states in the country and 550 district committee members, at least from 110 districts of the country, can contribute almost all 4 lakhs rupees per month. Because if the methodology adopted to the executive members of the organization in different levels of in the first phase, the financial resources will be cropping up to 4 lakhs per month. Actually, the paper figures or calculations in dreams seems very attractive and elusive in nature. But these calculations will be true when the committed cadre like us take up this type of targets to our inner hearts. That's why in the first phase of implementing this methodology, the targets were fixed to the executive members of all levels of the organization only executive members. They should take up this task from their hearts only. The methodology of contributing 500 rupees per month shall be completed immediately after leaving this convention to our native places. That means in the coming new year, by the end of January 2021, all the executive committee members of all levels of the organization, that is CEC, SCC, DEC, and other executive committee members of our BOMS of organization, should make themselves a monthly contributor through bank automatic debit process to the newly opened 500 rupees bank account named as BOMS of Full-Timers. That bank account name itself as BOMS of Full-Timers. It should be completed at any cost by the end of the 31st January 2021. In the second phase of this perspective program, the same methodology will be continued with in another angle. That means each executive committee member at all levels of the organization shall take the responsibility in influencing the other cadres of the organization or other sympathizers of the full Ambedkarite movement to contribute 500 rupees per month for just cause, this cause only. Suppose each CEC member take the responsibility to influence at least 10 members in 6 months. Similarly, each SCC member takes 5 members and DEC members will take 2 members. Then in totality, it will reach 2,100 members to contribute, that is 500 rupees per month. Then the financial resources will reach in the second phase approximately 11 lakhs per month. Please don't think this is an elusive planning. If I am thinking alone, definitely it may become a dreaming project. But certainly it will not become an elusive matter when it comes with an organization of committed cadre like BOMSF. So this perspective program in the second phase shall be completed in 6 months. That is from January 31st to June or July 31st, 6 months gap to all these SCC, CEC, DEC members to contribute 10 members from each CEC member, 5 members from each SCC member, and 2 members from each DEC member. They should in a position to contribute, to influence these persons to contribute 500 rupees per month. This is the second phase of our financial resources development. So dear friends, so this perspective program By the end of the June 2021, the organization shall be in a position to generate 15 lakh rupees per month. This is true and can be achieved if we are committed to our perspective program. If we want to run the movement authentically, this perspective program shall be practically materialized and implemented at any cost. In the month of July 2021, we shall recruit another 35 full-timers in addition to 40 full-timers that we have been already recruited in the first phase of the program, this perspective program. So in total, 75 full-timers are necessary to cover the entire 29 states and 7 union territories of this country. This is the tentative perspective program for developing the human and financial resources to the organization, and in particular to run the Phule Ambedkarite movement. For running any movement, you know very well, these human and financial resources are very, very essential. If we are not in a position to concentrate on these human and financial resources, we cannot build the organization, we cannot run the movement, and we cannot achieve our objective of the social change. This is final. On this prestigious organization dais, I am declaring this thing. Since last 42 years of our experience in the organization, we know very well this thing it is impossible task if you are not in a position to build up the financial and human resources. Now, coming to our present socio-political scenario of the country. This is whatever I explained, I emphasized, whatever I feel before you, that is regarding to the organization, pertaining to the organizational development resources only. Now present, I am coming to the socio-political scenario of this country. The ruling castes are acting and behaving in such a manner that the situation is totally against to the spirit of the constitution, sir. These Brahmanical forces are irrespective of their political stand. Naturally, they are coming forward to unite themselves on the issues against the implementation of the constitutional provisions. We are sensing this pinch of pain very vigorously since 2014, and now it becomes as unbearable during these 2020. At times, it is of the feeling as if we are living in the ages of P.S. Mitra. P.S. Mitra means Pushashunga Mitra. Today, I think every Mulnivasi of this country feels like this only. Presently, the farmers' agitation is a very humiliating issue. Now it is going on. Both the government and opposition parties are playing with the lives of the great sons of this country. Actually, the Farmers Act is in the name of their empowerment and their protection. During their agitation itself, their protection is jeopardized. These new laws enacted are an assault to the federal character of the Constitution. In the 7th schedule of the Constitution, it clearly states that all agricultural related issues, even the agricultural education and research issues, shall come under the state legislative jurisdiction only. Constitution in the 7th schedule of the Constitution, it is very clearly states that the agricultural issues, agricultural education also, all comes under the state government jurisdiction only. Constitution clearly states nearly 97 related issues pertains to the union government, and nearly 66 related issues pertains to the state control. The agricultural related issue is of the 66 points in the 7th schedule. By tampering such type of acts is nothing but the violation of the basic structure of the Constitution. While before framing such laws and acts, it is of the general practice that this concerned or affected persons shall be contacted in the public domain in general, and discussion shall be allowed in the Constitution assemblies. But in these particular farmers' issue, both these practices are not being observed, and even the time is not allowed to debate the bills in both the houses of the parliament. The government is not care enough to discuss with the representatives of the farmers. Most astonishing issue is the bills were not even sent to the parliamentary committees before they were introduced into the parliament. Why this has happened? What are the undercurrents behind this? This is nothing but outcome of the conspiracy hatched by these same Brahmanical forces during 1991 by introducing LPG in the country. The Brahmanical forces are very much vigilant and very active in countering the activities of the BAMSF organization since 1978 itself. Whoever the ruling parties in the center or in the states, they are countering our activities systematically. Whatever the theories or ideologies are having with either of the political parties, they have come to the close affinity when their interests are challenged by the Mool Nivasi Bahujan Samaj. Another point we have to think over on this particular subject is the census of 2021. This is the 16th Indian census which is going to be conducted in the next year 2021. Before independence in British India, they conducted 8 times since 1872, and after independence, the Indian government also conducted census 7 times up to the year 2011. Except in the year 2011, none of the census were conducted on enumeration of the caste basis. After 80 years, during 1931, to find out the exact population of the other backward classes in India, it was carried out in 1931 only. After that period, in 2011 only, the census was carried out on the socio-economic caste census in 2011. But the results were kept in cold storage, like Mandal report, which was also kept in cold storage for a long period of 10 years, that is from 1980 to 1990. So, BAMSF and other OBC organizations thoroughly exposed the cunning nature of these Brahmanical ruling castes, but these forces never revealed the results of the OBC census till today. Now the government is again preparing to the census 2021. This time, we shall chalk out a nationwide program to put the pressure on these Brahmanical ruling castes that the census should be conducted by enumerating caste, and in particular, the census of 2021 shall reveal the actual percentage of OBCs in India. During Mandal and Kamandal agitation also, the Brahmanical forces had hatched so many action programs to divert the attention of the OBC people. They conducted and telecasted Ramayana mega serial in Doordarshan for a period of more than 1.5 years, that is from since 1987 to mid-1988, with almost 78 episodes of the Ramayana in Doordarshan. This was telecasted to suppress the agitation of the OBCs in every corner of the country for non-implementation of the Mandal Commission report. They continued these hatched programs after completion of the Ramayana serial in Doordarshan with the Radayatra episode in 1990. Immediately after Doordarshan Ramayana episode is completed, immediately they started Radayatra. This was the biggest conspiracy hatched by these Brahmanical forces to divert the attention of the OBCs for implementation of the Mandal report in 1990. Because the total political scenario changed and Janata Dal government was formed and they decided to implement the report under the leadership of VP Singh. So immediately this 10,000 kilometers Radayatra started from Somanath in Gujarat to the that Ayodhya in UP, led by Advani in October 1990. With this Radayatra, majority of the OBC community people, in the name of religion, they simply left the agitational program of the Mandal Commission report, Mandal movement. Similarly, to divert the coming census program and to convert the socio-political scenario into their favor, they now launched a very big program in every state of the country. Now they are going to launch a very big program. Even before the Phule Ambedkarite people started their energies to awaken their brethren in respect of caste-based census, these Brahmanical forces again planned to divert the Mool Nivasi Bahujan Samaj in the lines of religious aspect. These ruling castes are planned to construct 14,500 temples all over the country and want each and every OBC people to involve in this mega program. Very purposefully, they want to construct these temples in the residential areas of OBC, SC, ST people in each state. They plan to inaugurate 500 temples in the month of March 2021 itself. As usually, the people belonging to these communities may remain busy in constructing these temples, leaving aside the future of their own community to the backlashed faces of their own community. This is the plan of the counter-revolutionary forces for the next coming new year 2021. For this, we have to awaken our own people. We have to chalk out a nationwide awakening program for awakening our intellectual people and masses in particular. For this purpose, all the offshoot wings of the BAMSAF organization shall be energized to the fullest form. Particularly, Mool Nivasi Vidyarthi Sangh, Mool Nivasi Sabhyata Sangh, and naturally the Mool Nivasi Sangh take part in this awakening program for successfully countering the ruling castes. Another very important point I want to discuss with you is about BS4 program. We are all well acquainted with this program since last 2 years. We launched this BS4 program in 2018 January, and as per our schedule, we have conducted this mega awakening program throughout the country very successfully. In the year 2019, also in a phased manner, we contacted all the wings of the society, including farmers, workers, students, etc., to awaken those lot pertaining to the constitution values and how importance of the constitution in safeguarding our rights and self-respect. But unfortunately, we are not in a position to take this awakening campaign in the year 2020 and this year due to this heavy pandemic corona conditions throughout India. Meanwhile, these Brahmanical forces are not even given a single day of gap in destructing the spirit of the Constitution. They are wrecking out each wing of the Constitution slowly by touching and tampering each part of it. Out of 22 parts of the Constitution, primarily they touched the part 2 of the Constitution, that is citizenship. In this part, only 7 articles are inscribed in the Constitution. Baba Sahib clearly narrated in this part about the rights of the citizenship of the both Indian related and foreign related persons. But these forces are instigating the people of this country over this part and creating so much of fuss about CAA, NRC, CAB, NPR, etc. And also about the modalities of the Constitution also, they are instigating like anything. Now they are very busy in tampering the fundamental rights of the Constitution also. Through the courts, they are propagating the reservations are not the fundamental rights of the people. They plan to remove all the 24 articles in this particular part, fundamental rights part. This is the part 3 of the Constitution. By doing this activity, they want to re-establish Manusmriti, which was burnt by Baba Saheb Ambedkar during 25th December in 1927 at Mahad, and the same Manusmriti scientifically demolished by Baba Saheb Ambedkar through this Constitution on 26th January 1950. So, we have to speed up the BS4 awakening program from now itself. Since last 2 years, we are propagating that we should respect our Constitution, we shall protect our Constitution, and at the same time, we have to strengthen our Constitution. Here I want to explain in a common man's language about the Constitution. That is, why should we respect our Constitution? Why should we protect our Constitution? And why we strengthen our Constitution? The very root of the reasons shall be explained to our people again and again. They have to convince and they have to polarize with the thinking and thoughts of the bombs of people. For that purpose, we have to explain the things related to the Constitution in a common man's language. First, we will discuss about that why we should respect our Constitution. Please listen carefully. Even though the time is elapsing, nearing to the 2 o'clock, please wait and please listen carefully. I am also listening the Hindi language since last 25 years with utmost importance and utmost, even though I am getting headache also, I am listening Hindi very carefully. I am begging you, please listen carefully, you can understand my language. So dear friends, we shall protect our Constitution. So, for example, for that purpose, we have to explain the things relating to the Constitution in a common man's language. First, we will discuss about that why we should respect our Constitution. Why? Because the Constitution is giving everything to us. The rights, respect, honor, and everything. The rights means the human rights, which were denied to us by the previous Constitution written by Sumati Bhargava. The Indian Constitution written by Baba Saheb Ambedkar is given as a way of life. Before this Constitution of India, the majority of our people having no right to live honorable life. There is no means of livelihood, no means of livelihood. There is no way to live a secure life in the hands of the Arya Brahmins. There is no right to acquiring the knowledge by reading or writing or by means of education. But after 26th January 1950, we the people of India had every right to access knowledge from any institution or from any school or college. Because of all these, we have to respect our Constitution. Like our own mother and father, like our own kith and kin, the Constitution of India is giving everything to us, everything. As we respect our parents, in the same way, we should respect our Constitution of India. This is one thing. And another thing, we have to protect our Constitution. Why should we protect our Constitution? Because the Constitution is in danger. The Brahmanical forces are using their all energies and putting their all means to change the Constitution of India. If they are succeeded in their efforts, all our basic human rights, livelihood, and all other means of survival will vanish. Instead of all these things, we will lose our self-respect and honor. So, to avoid all these things, and moreover, it is our prime and moral responsibility to protect our Constitution. So, we must protect our Constitution at any cost. And finally, why we should strengthen our constitution? Why? Because majority of our people, even our educated people, didn't know what is written in the constitution. They always trying to mention that our constitution is written by Baba Sahib Ambedkar. So we have to respect it and we have to follow the constitution simply. There, because Baba Sahib Ambedkar written this constitution. These are all the sentimental words. Sentimental words, sentimental ways, or mere sentiments will not create any movement. Our sentimental way of approach will not serve any purpose. So we have to learn about our constitution. What is constitution? Why it is written? What is the purpose of the constitution? How many articles or how many parts are there in the constitution? We have to learn at least all these preliminary things about the constitution. In our constitution, 1 minute. In our constitution, there is one preamble, 395 articles, 80 sub-articles, 22 parts, 12 schedules, 3 appendixes. So these are all completely, this is the Indian constitution. So all these 395 articles resembles in the preamble of the constitution. Our special guest is very, very purposefully or repeatedly is telling about the preamble of the constitution. So what preamble says? We the people of India, having solemnly resolved to constitute India into a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic, and to secure to all its citizens liberty, equality, and justice, liberty, equality, and fraternity to all its citizens of this country. This is in this preamble. So every citizen of this country should by heart this preamble. I think the rulers of this country shall made a mandate to by heart this preamble of this constitution instead of Vande Mataram, etc., etc. So not Vande Mataram, etc., etc. The preamble should be by heart by every citizen of this country. Every child, every student, every person, every woman, and everyone should by heart this preamble. Then only they know about the beauty of the constitution. Every educated person shall know about the articles inscribed in the constitution. Knowing the details in the constitution means knowing the laws. Knowing the details in the constitution means knowing the country, knowing about the administration, knowing about parliament, knowing about assembly, knowing about employment, knowing about reservation, knowing about everything in the geographical boundary of the country. This is the knowing about the details of the constitution means. So every one of us knows about the details of the constitution. Certainly we will take the initiative to promote or to strengthen the constitution. That's why we should, that in Hindi what we said, Samman, Samraksha and Samvruddhi. So Samvruddhi means this is the area we learn ourselves about the constitution, what is written in the constitution. Recently, 2 months back, in the Farmers Bill 2020, the present government violated the basic structure of the constitution by tampering the 7th schedule in the constitution. Similarly, in adapting the new education policy 2020, also the ruling caste have not even followed the provisions prescribed in the constitution in allotting the budget for the primary education. So far, from first parliamentary sessions to this 17th Lok Sabha sessions, 104 times constitution is amended. Out of these 104 amendments, the fundamental rights were tampered and changed 17 times. This is nothing but violation of the constitutional provisions. During Indira Gandhi period, she tampered the basic structure of the constitution by including socialist, secular in the preamble of the constitution in 1976. Since first parliamentary sessions to itself, that is from the 1951 itself onwards, they are using this 368 article. 368 article means the amendment of the Constitution article. The Constitution is giving right to amend the Constitution in the way of 368 article. So these Brahmanical forces are using these 368 article frequently and tampering the fundamental rights and the directive principles of the state policy and even the basic structure of the Constitution also. This is very ridiculous and highly objectionable. So to counter these activities of the ruling caste, the bombs have launched the BS4 Mega Awakening program throughout India. I am very much impressed and happy that the efforts put by our functionaries, leading functionaries and the cadre are their actions and their put efforts are very remarkable. Door to door BS4. This slogan went on to the minds of the people throughout India like a whirlwind. Similarly, our pride, our Constitution, Meri Shan, Mera Bharat Ki Samvidhan. This slogan also inspired the people of India like anything. The cadres of the BAMSF and other offshoot wings of the organization are very much involved enthusiastically in the BS4 Abhiyan. This year, we planned to reach every household and went on to meet every citizen of this country to explain about the greatness and excellency of the Constitution. According to the planning was designed, but unfortunately, according to that planning was designed, but unfortunately, due to this pandemic corona, we failed to reach the 6 crore people in the first phase of the BS4 Abhiyan. But we will again plan the same action program which was not implemented in the previous year. We have to, the previous year means that is 2020 year, last year, this year. So we have to implement this same action program in the coming year, that is in the 2021. So we have a tremendous confidence to implement this planning in the coming year, that is 2021. Finally, I want to conclude my presidential speech by giving some tips and some inputs to our cadre and also to the organizers of this organization. In the beginning of my address itself, I categorically specified about my priorities during my tenure. If we want to run the movement authentically, if we want to propagate the ideologies of our forefathers to reach our objective, if we want to carry the society along with us, if we want to awaken the Mulnivasi Bahujan Samaj in an objective-oriented manner, or if you want to implement all the sub-objectives of the organization in order to reach our main objective, that is social change, we should build up our human resources geographically and develop financial resources systematically in a scientific manner. We cannot achieve our objective to its logical end if these resources can be pursued practically. So we have to strengthen our human and financial resources first. Then only we think or concentrate on other things, on other priority things. If I myself will take this individual responsibility to strengthen both these resources. This is an age-old perspective program of our previous national presidents also. From M.N. Tejendra Singh Jalli to M.N. D.R. Arya Saab, many of the national presidents have expressed their viewpoint about these resources. After this convention, the CEC will sit together again and come to a concrete conclusion on this matter, and accordingly, we all put our efforts to strengthen and develop the resources. The complete action plan for the year 2021 will also be chalked out and will be intimated to all of you by the time you reach your respective destinations after this convention. There is a proverb, please listen carefully. There is a proverb or an adage for the movementators. That is, who are in the field of the social movement, there is a proverb. That is, those who want to educate others, I am repeating you, those who want to educate others, educate themselves is the first and foremost precondition of the movement. I am repeating again this adage. That is, before educating others, educate yourself is the first and foremost duty of that particular person. So this is the precondition of the movement also. The adage is correctly applicable to all of us. Why? Because from the day one, when we joining into the bombs of organization, it is the duty of each cadre that we have to convince the persons in the Mool Nivasi Bahujan Samaj. So, for that purpose, keeping the proverb in the mind and also for the developing the resources of the organization in the heart, I developed one concept to myself and to the cadre of our organization also. That one is like this. That is, read one page per day. Speak to one cadre per day. Give 16 rupees per day. I am repeating once again. Read one page per day. Speak to one person per day. Give 16 rupee per day. Read one page per day means that is one's own development and to improve our own knowledge for running the social movement and fulfill the requirement of precondition of the movement. For this purpose, we have to read at least one page from the literature of our forefathers and Mool Nivasi literature or bombs of literature. If we make this habit as a common phenomena in our daily life, definitely this habit will enrich our personality. The second one is speak to one person per day. That means we must cultivate a habit of conversation with a known or unknown person of our Mool Nivasi community for emphasizing the necessity of working for the social movement and to explain about the details of the organization and objective of the Phule Ambedkarite movement, etc., etc. Suppose if you keep on speaking to one person per day for 30 days in a month, we are supposed to cover 30 persons. From these 30 persons, at least 2 to 5 people may come into the fold of the organization. That means we are going to introduce at least 2 to 3 persons to the organization every month. Certainly, it will lead to generate human resources. This is a new methodology we are adopting, and as per our traditional way of approach, as usually we plan to conduct the cadre camps, corner meetings, seminars, and conventions, etc., etc. From this traditional way of approach, also we are getting the human resources since 40 years. So, from this new methodology, for creating human resources, we shall make habit to speak to at least one person per day. Speak to one person means not convincing. You just try to cultivate a habit of speaking to at least one person in the 24 hours of the day. At least one person. It is you should make a habit as a daily habit of your daily life. For the financial resources, we must make a compulsory payment to the movement in every month. That is 500 rupees per month. That means 16 rupees per day. That is nearly equal to 500 rupees per month. Suppose each CEC member and each SEC member of every state is converted to this monthly payment process, it will create so much of funds to the organization. So we have to strengthen our human and financial resources first. Then only we think or concentrate on other priorities. I myself, so it will create wonders in the near future. Of course, we are spending every month more than this to the organization or to the movement. We are spending so much of money. 500 rupees is nothing, but more than this, some people may spend 1,000 rupees, 2,000 rupees, 10,000 rupees every month. That is there. But spending every month more than this to the organization, to the movement, by collecting and gathering of financial resources from all corners of the country for a single purpose will bring revolutionary change in the financial affairs of the organization. That too, these financial resources are being utilized for maintaining and managing the system of full-timers. So, for this purpose, we have to develop a concept of contributing 500 rupees per month to sustain the system of full-timers. So, those who are agree with my proposal, join with my voice. Read a page per day. Please, read a page per day. Speak to a person per day. Give 16 rupee per day. एक पेज प्रतिदिन पढ़े, एक कैडर से प्रतिदिन बात करे, एक 6 रुपये प्रतिदिन दे. थैंक यू. जय भीम, जय मूल्यवासी, जय भारत, जय संविधान.